Hello and good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of Ask Andrew Anything on email marketing. It is the Wednesday, and I show up live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. And the idea is to help my audience, people like you, to answer questions related to email marketing. Okay, for those who are new to me, let me run this through. My name is Andrew, aka the email guy. And my business, I help businesses build deeper relationships with their customers and also their prospects so that buying from them becomes effortless, becomes easier because you have developed that know, like, and trust with your audience. Okay. So now let me see. Can we run this? Yes. There you go. So, if you have any questions related to email marketing, it could be something technical. It could be either you're not getting your emails in the inbox or in the spam, you end up in the spam, or you're not sure how you should write email campaigns to generate sales. You're welcome to submit your questions to me. And this is the URL is www.ants.digital/ask. And if you happen to have your phone with you, then you can just scan the QR code. It will lead you to a Google form where you can then submit your emails and submit your questions, and I'll answer them in the following Wednesday. Okay. And if you want to follow me on the socials, I'm more active on LinkedIn. So, you can go to ants.digital/LinkedIn. It is a shortcut which will link you to my LinkedIn profile. You can tap on the follow button, or if you want to be notified whenever I post, information or my thoughts related to business, primarily related to email marketing, for example, then, tap on the bell button and you'll be notified whenever I put up the post. I normally post about two, maybe three times a week, or sometimes more, depending on the information I want to share with my audience. Okay, so let's go through. This is let's go through the first question for the week, and this is an interesting one from Stephanie, and she's asking, "What are cold emails? Aren't they considered spam? Right?" Stephanie, if you're watching, this is an excellent question, and I'm going to give you some straight answers tonight. Okay. So the first thing is, yes, cold email. If you slap on your a list which you maybe buy from a third party, or you just grab them off, somebody else's list, for example. And these people obviously may not be aware of you or may not know you. And then you slap on an email and you send these emails to all of them, okay, without any context. And the worst thing is if your emails is all about selling your products, okay, that, Stephanie, is considered spam. But if you do it correctly, all right, and I'm going to show you some of the steps that you do it correctly, then cold emails, or some call it email outreach, for example, it is an excellent way for you to generate leads, to convert prospects, technically cold prospects because they don't know you. But you want to engage, or you want to get into an engagement with them, and you communicate with them, and then you eventually turn them to become your leads. Then cold email outreach would be an excellent tool, right? It is similar to dating. Okay, if you see a guy or a girl, and if you approach the person and you say, "Hey, you look very interesting. Here's my phone number," what would happen? Okay, so they'll probably consider you as a creep, as a perp, and either report you. Okay, in email, if you do that, directly sell and send in sales emails to them without properly establishing contact, for example, then yes, they will report you as spam. Okay, but if you wine and dine the person, you get into an interesting conversation and the person find you interesting, then that's where you can go to the next step and so on, eventually become your girlfriend or boyfriend. All right, so here are the steps, Stephanie. Quick one. The first thing you need to do is, again, this is something that is very important, all right? You do not use the company's, if you're working for a company, primary domain. Okay, so let's say your company's primary domain is abc.com, right? So if you want to do an cold email exercise or campaign, do not use the abc.com, because there's always a high likelihood that, the people that you send these emails, depending on the industry that you operate in, they may report your emails as spam, and it will affect your domain reputation of your primary domain. Then the other functions or the other departments who uses the same primary domain to send emails for, let's say, finance, for legal, or either support, for example, then their emails will also end up in spam. Okay. So what you do is you want to set up a new domain. Okay. You probably call it, let's say, email-abc.com. All right. You can be creative about it. The idea is to link it similar to your primary domain. And from there, you need to warm up this domain. Okay. So it takes about 14 days to 30 days. Now, the idea of warming up is you will send emails using this new domain to people who are familiar with you, and then they will respond, and there's an engagement. That's how you warm up. So then, as far as the mailbox providers are concerned, when they see this, they will see that you have a track record sending emails out. All right. So because the spammer will just send up, likelihood they will also buy a new domain and they'll start blasting the emails out. So as far as they're concerned, you starting off could be a spammer. But if you have warm up your domain, for example, then you would be considered as a legit sender of emails. Okay. So once you have done up with this, the next thing is, right, obviously, like I mentioned before, make sure your authentication is set up. So that means your SPF, your DKIM, and your DMARC. Okay. This is what I will call it your email credibility or email cred. Okay. So when Gmail, for example, when you look at this, they will then see and say, okay, you have passed the minimum requirements of authentication. And, depending on the content of your email, I will let you pass through. Okay. Once this is done, then you pull up your prospects list. Now, compared to buying a list from somebody or a third party, in your case, you want to do cold email properly. What you need to do is you then directly research and then pick up the prospects that you really want to get in touch with, right? So you're not going to go through a list of 1,000 people. You'll probably go through a list of, eventually end up with, let's say, 100 or at most 150. Okay. So what you do is you then know who are these people, you know their industries, for example, and it's relevant to what you have to offer. Then you can build up a list of prospects. And then the next thing is you need to do research. Okay. So let's say you're a list of 100. You want to know, you do a research, go through each one of these 100. Nowadays, it's very simple. All right, you can use the internet. Information is widely available. You do a LinkedIn search, for example, to understand the prospects, what they do, what are the news item related to the company, for example, any new developments, you can pick that up. Okay, so for example, let's say, I think my Sifu Ricky is here. So let's say Ricky is a voice coach, right? And I want to approach him. For example, I'm selling email services and I want to approach him to set up an email system for him. Okay. Then I'll go through LinkedIn and I found out, for example, like today, he actually recited a nice poem from this poet called Ella Wheeler Wilcox. My email to him is going to be very personal and says, "Hi, Ricky. I love the way you basically recited the poem from Ella Wheeler Wilcox, and I like to get in touch with you to explore, for example, an opportunity that you can actually take your talents to a wider audience." Or let's say take your talents to, let's say, Fortune 100, Fortune 100, or Fortune 500, where you can train using your skills, CEOs or senior managers who may be interested who does a lot of presentation and may need your coaching. Okay. So now this email although I may be sending to 100 over coaches, each one of them is unique to the recipient. So so it's not templated in a sense. And the first paragraph is going to be very personalized. The rest of it could be templated and say, I've helped hundreds of companies doing emails and all those things. Yes, the second paragraph and so on can be, but your first paragraph is going to be customized to your audience or to that particular recipient. Now, that's how you can reduce the chances of them reporting spam, because you have you have referred to an activity that they are aware of or an activity that they have done. Okay. Once you have done your research, okay, then you have done your personalize your email. Okay. So you personalize your email. And then you do your follow-ups, right? Now, the thing with cold email marketing is the first email is not to sell, right? You do not sell anything. You want to have the person to reply to you, and you want to have that conversation going. So when you have that, maybe the second email, for example, you may want to say, would you like to schedule a call where we can discuss this, right? You must give the opportunity to the recipient to reply to you. And if the person don't, they may not open your email, or they read your email, or they wanted to reply but they forget, for example. You then send a second email maybe 3 days later as a follow-up. At the end of, let's say, a sequence of at most 3 emails and the person has not responded, then you should stop sending emails to this person, right? Then you find other ways to do it, either run ads, or either through social, for example, get connected with him again or her again, and then you start from there. Okay. Pardon me, because my dog is barking at this hour. They should be asleep, but things happen. So this is how, Stephanie, you can do properly and ethically a cold email campaign, right? How is it different from your inbound emails, for example, like what we normally get used to? The inbound email is the recipient has given you an explicit permission to send emails to them. And how they do that, for example, if you put up a lead magnet, for example, I would do a social post and say, hey, would you like to know, 3 things about the benefits of email, for example? Okay, I'm just riffing off my head. Then once I've listed a 3, then in my last line, I'll say, hey, there's another 7 steps that you can do to get a good response to your email, especially step number 8, for example. If you like that, you go to this link and you can download my report or download my guide or download my PDF. That is lead magnet. All right, that is what you call lead magnet. And from then, the person will then go to a page specially designed to collect email addresses. Okay, so that's why some call it a squeeze page, some call it a landing page. Okay, but nevertheless, there is no other information about the company, whatever, except to allow the person to put in their email address to get a copy of the lead magnet. Now, by virtue of doing that, the person to a certain extent, have given you permission for you. And in the end, you can also have a little tick box and say, would you like for me to continue to send emails to you related to emails or whatever it is. All right. And if the person thinks they have given you permission to email them. Now, of course, in all your emails, subsequent emails that you send to them, you must then make sure your unsubscribe button is prominent, so that if they find after maybe 6 or 7 emails that eventually they find that maybe you're not for them, or maybe it's not something that within their interest anymore, they then unsubscribe, right? So you make it easy for them to leave, and then make it easy for them to join your newsletter or your email list. So that's inbound, right, with permission. Whereas in cold email, the person don't know you, and you're reaching out. It's just like cold calling, right? You're reaching out to try to establish contact. So after 3 emails, then what you do is, if they don't respond, you then move on to your next prospect. Okay, Stephanie, I hope I've answered your questions related to cold emails. If you do it wrongly, yes, it is absolutely spam. If you do it correctly, like the steps I've explained to you, then yes, it is a legit email communication. Okay. So next question do we have here? This is from Rishal. Why would I need emails when I can DM the person directly? Yes, you can. The difference is, Rishal, when you DM, you are doing it one DM at a time. Whereas solo was, let's say, for example, you may have a 100 person that you want to notify of. Let's say you have a course running, or you got an event that you want to share with them. You would have to DM the person 100 times. Whether the person respond or not is another thing. Number two is it's going to take you a lot of time, obviously. But if you have them on your list, they have given you permission. Remember I've explained to Stephanie earlier. They have given you permission for you to email them, and then all you need to do is draft an email, and then with a click of a button, you'll be sending this email to 100 people on your list. So which one is faster? Okay, so that's how email marketing still remains one of the best method for you to communicate with your audience. Remember, the difference is your audience. That means they are already on your list. Okay, whereas in social, but social is great. Don't get me wrong. Social is awesome when you want to talk to, get in touch with cold audiences. Okay, social is great. So you got to use these two, right? Use social to broadcast, to share value, for example, so that if they find you interesting, they may want to follow you, and from then on, you can then invite them into your email list, and from then on, you then continue to engage and communicate with them. Okay, so I hope I've cleared your concern or your doubts with regards to the effectiveness of emails. This is how you use email properly. Okay. So with that, we have covered two questions. Just a quick, I would say a pitch, just a quick PSA, for example. PSA, yeah. So if you have issues with email marketing and you need somebody like myself to help you with your emails, you can go to this URL. It's ants.digital. I've put in together all the services related to email marketing, from a very simple stuff like setting up your email system, to getting your authentication right, your email cred right, to even running campaigns for you, right? So the options are there. Have a look at it. If there's a need for you, that you may need somebody else to look at your emails, for example, or to help you out with your emails. Okay, so this is a done for you service, and there's a range of services that's available for you to choose. So with that, do we have any questions from the floor? Right? No? Fine. So with that, I'll see you again next Wednesday. Continue to, okay, just. So if you have questions related to emails and you need somebody to give you some answers, somebody who's been doing this for the last 2 years, then you're welcome to send them to me. It's ants.digital/ask, and you just submit your questions and I will answer them on the following Wednesday. I appear live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. to answer questions related to email marketing. So with that, thank you so much for your time. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. And I'll hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Andrew Wong, aka the email guy, signing off. I'll see you. Cheers.